All right, so this is Diesel We the People News. One more time at it, y'all. Been busy. Got 1,566,000 things to do, and not enough time to do it. All right, so I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. Okay, I'm just hearsay. Do your own research. Okay. Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Enhances the reason why I'm bringing this up. All right, so on the very top there, it says winwithoutLawyer.com. It's Dr. Graves' course. Okay, I have never got it. Okay, I hear it all the time in videos I watch and this, that, here, and there. And due to years to now, it seems like it's been working out great for them. Okay, and allegedly it's $300 a year. All right, but anything that can help you is knowledge. So, you guys check him out, Dr. Graves. Check out his videos, listen to him speak, and make up your decision whether you're going to take his course or not, okay? But again, even if you take his course for 1 year, the knowledge you gain from it is still knowledge, whether it's a little or whether it's a lot, okay? So, there we go. But I just wanted to give a little what he had to say about his course. Okie. And let's back up a little bit. Back up. All right. So if you want to hear his whole thing or you want to find him anything else, just Dr. Graves and you'll find several videos. All right. And give this video channel some love, okay? But let's dig into what he's saying a little bit. If I can do this right.
What people call God. There's different ways of looking at God. All the religions agree that there is this unseen hand, as George Washington called it. Benjamin Franklin called it that, and Marcus Aurelius even called that. There's an unseen hand that orders the universe, but when we have judges that are ignoring the consequence of the operation of that unseen hand, then we have problems, and the problems filter down to the little guy, like ferry boat captains and fishing boat captains and carpenters and people that lay roofing on roofs in Florida in July. And it's just something that needs to be understood by the people. And I just have one little voice. I just want other people to understand that this is something that we can do. We can change what's going on. We can make these people in high places begin to realize that the law that makes the apples fall also makes countries fall. It makes divorces. It drives young men and women to turn to drugs and alcohol instead of dealing with their problems. Not that there's some insidious motive in the logos. It's just a consequence that can't be avoided. Now, the people then say, well, how can I make a difference? And the answer is, think about Rosa Parks. She didn't want to ride on the back of the bus. And that law didn't change because they paraded across the bridge over Selma. I mean, that might have influenced some politicians, but it didn't change the law. The law changed when somebody went to court. Brown versus Board of Education. You see, schools are integrated today because of the decision that came down from a judge when he picked up a pen and signed an order. What's the thing? The Miranda. That was an action. The Miranda warning was actually a case. It was in Florida that decided that, by golly, if if you're going to do these things, you've got to tell people that they have certain rights before you start questioning them. The law changes when people do something to change it. But if you can't find a lawyer to go to court for you, what do? And people say, well, what about the old adage, you know, if you represent yourself in court, you have a fool for a lawyer. Well, I come back to them and I say, well, what if you're a fishing boat captain and you're lucky to have $50 in your pocket? What are you going to do? What can you do? What if you're a single mom? The other morning, a lady called me. Her 1-year-old baby was taken away. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have any parents. She doesn't have no friends. They took her baby away. What are you going to do? And for the bar to come out and say, well, hire a lawyer. Well, yeah, sure, isn't that great? Hire a lawyer. But because I came from where I came from, I know how ridiculous that is. And so I do the best I can to try to make this course better and better every year. It's been going on since 1997. And if I live any longer, I'll do my best to make it better. But now the question is, will the American public begin to realize there really are over 250 million of you who can't afford a lawyer? And I can't tell you how many times over these years I've gotten emails or phone calls from people, and they've said, you know, I hired a lawyer, I mortgaged the home, I did everything I could, I gave him $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, and then I got your course and I found out that he didn't do any of the things he could have done. Well, what's that all about? So, you know, I just want people to understand that you don't have to be hoodwinked by these elitist people who claim that just because they went to law school and passed the bar that they're a whole lot smarter than you, because they may know something that you don't know, but they're not smarter than you. They don't have a higher IQ than you. I wish I could tell one story about a young man when I was teaching in a Christian school. His mother was the counselor. And Billy, I taught there 3 years. Billy was in my biology class in 10th grade. Then he was in my chemistry class in 11th grade. He didn't do well. Billy wasn't the sharpest crayon in the bunch. And then the senior year, I wanted to teach a physics class. I had eight kids in the class, and one of them was Billy. And his mother said, no, this took me aside, Mr. Graves, Billy can't be in that class. He won't be able to figure that out. I'm going to make my point here if you people will kindly listen to this old man. And I said, well, here's the deal. And she went to the headmaster. And he came to me and he said, you know, you can't have Billy. I said, I'll tell you what, either I get Billy in my physics class or I quit. So Billy was in the class. And I taught the way Mr. Webster taught, the most important person in my life when I was a child growing up, certainly the most important teacher. I would put a problem on the board. And then I'd turn around to the children. I'd say, what's the story? I'd let them try to figure it out. And most of the time, the valedictorian, his name was Jim Root, or the salutatorian, I forgot what her name was, they would jump up and they'd have the answer, and they were so proud, and they want everybody else to know, gee, I know the answer, I know the answer. Every once in a while, I'd put a question on the board, draw a diagram, and I'd say, what's the story? Billy would shoot his hand up.
Now listen to this point of view, right? This is what I'm saying. Think outside the box. Never look straight forward.
And the other kids were stuck. They were stymied. They had no idea. But Billy saw it a different way. And the way he saw it was genius. So I've become fully persuaded that in each and every person, there's this gem of genius. And that together, there's nothing we cannot do. But if we sit back and imagine someone else is going to fix the world for us, then we can't call ourselves patriots. We just can't. And to be angry about something and to find fault with something and to complain about this, that, and the other thing, and, oh, isn't it awful, isn't it awful? Put on your big boy pants, grow up. And now, as I say again, you've got no excuse. With my course and the ability to research the law, just as well as any lawyer could do, in fact, better than you could do 30 years ago when you had to go to a law library and look at, 8,000 books and try to figure out Which one do I look in? Now you just go to Google and say, dog bite law, Illinois. And you find all kinds of law, all kinds of things that then you can go to the judge and say, this is what the law is. Here is the admissible facts that I got into the evidence using my 5 discovery tools: request for admissions, request for production, interrogatories, depositions, and subpoenas. You only have 5, not 123 or 7,000. There's only 5, not too hard to learn. So here's the facts that I got into the evidence as admissible evidence into the record. Here's the law. I move the court to enter an order pursuant to the law. And guess what? It works. It worked for me over and over and over again. And I took no prisoners, like I say, and just the people out there owe this to those wonderful young people who scaled the hills at Iwo Jima, that got off those amphibious vehicles on the beach at Normandy. We owe them something. And if it's not to stand up and enforce this system, I shouldn't use that word, to enforce this legal profession, to uphold the law and give the people their due, then I don't know, shame on us, really. I don't really know what all you want me to say, Clint. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to people, but that's how I see it. I think that people have the idea, I'm just looking at my notes here that I had, that they see lawyers on television. Mm-hmm. Any lawyer you see on television, he wants a big case. He wants something where he can make $100,000 as his 1/3 or 40% of whatever he collects for you without charging you any money. It won't cost you a dime until I win. Oh, that's great. What about that lonely mother with her baby's been taken away? Do you think any of those lawyers on TV are going to take her case? Not on your tintype. So what does she do? What she does is she needs some people in her community that know what I teach to use the legal research options that she has, and with the help of some people that are near her, to fight back. Make these people, say, well, who said that I beat my child? Who said I was abusing my child? Where is that person? I want to cross-examine that person. And what do they know? It's not difficult. The principles are so easy to learn. It really is common sense. But if you can't hire a lawyer and you can't get one to work for you, then what do? Then you look at family lawyers who could encourage their parties to settle. They don't. I mean, it's known. People in my profession know this is true. Family lawyers will take a couple they're already having enough problems. They got emotional problems. If they have children involved, even more emotional problems. They got property to divide. They're sad. Nobody's spending much time. Nobody in my profession spends much time telling these people, why don't we get together? Let's talk about this. Maybe we don't really want to get a divorce. Maybe we work this out somehow. Let's go to counseling. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to make a dime doing that. But they will make as much money as they can, keeping these people at odds and talking to the lawyer on the other side and making deals. I could go on and on. Other litigators who could settle a case don't. I had a situation, real true story. A lady came to me to do a will. And I did the will, and then sometime later, she passed away. And she had a friend. She left. Of course, when I did the will, she told me she had this friend that lived in Tennessee that would come down to St. Petersburg, Florida, and they'd have a good time. 2 old ladies. You can just imagine 2 old ladies having a good time. And so she died. And she left things to her friend from Tennessee. And she had 2 children that never bothered to come see her. And they came up with a Xerox copy of a purported will. They didn't have an original document. They had something with a Xerox copy. And they tried to say that that was a later will and that they should be able to probate this Xerox copy, that they should get mom's estate instead of this friend from Tennessee. Well, it turned out that the fellow had actually written a book on how to forge documents with a Xerox machine. And that's actually true. And then they hired a lawyer. And they didn't have all of what you're going to learn about in my course called the elements. There are certain elements that the statute provided if you're going to probate a Xerox copy. There's certain elements that have to be met. They didn't have all of them. I knew that right away. And I fought them and I fought them. And then they hired another lawyer. It's a true story. As I sit here, it's a true story. It's amazing. So this went on for over a year. And these two young people, I guess the good thing about it is they were paying the lawyer. I guess that's good. They had to pay money. And so they finally hired one more lawyer. His name was Gardner Beckett. And he was a lawyer emeritus. He was one of these slow-talking Southern gentlemen. And they had actually had a special celebration for him. He was such high muck-a-muck in the legal society in St. Petersburg. Well, we had to go to a final hearing, and I'm getting to my point, believe it or not, just that you understand it's a true story. And so Mr. Beckett started putting on his case, and he called witnesses, and then he went and finally sat down. Judge Pennick said, "Well, Mr. Graves, what do you have?" And I said, "Well, Your Honor, I'm waiting for Mr. Beckett to say that he rests his case." The judge looked at me like, and the judge was a brigadier general, retired, by the way. So he looks at me, I'm just a fisherman. I'm a carpenter. What do I know? I cleaned toilets when I was younger. So he looks at me and he said, what's this all about? And I said, it's very simple, Your Honor. I'm waiting for him to say on the record that he closes his case. He's done. He's got nothing else to put up. Beckett then says in his slow, drawling way, "Well, Your Honor, we pretty much did most of I said, that's not good enough. I want him to say he's got nothing else. And this went on for 3 or 4 minutes. And finally, the old man finally said, "Well, we rest our case." And I said, "Fine, I move for a directed verdict." And Judge Pennick jumped up out of the seat. And he said, "I'll be right back." And I told him what it was about. And he went to the law library, came back an hour later. This was like 6 o'clock in the evening now. And everyone wants to go home. And he comes back in the room. He said, "Fred's right." Those were his exact words. "Fred's right." So as I was getting up to leave and I was gathering my books together, I walked past the table on the other side where Beckett and his clients were sitting. And I heard Beckett say to his clients, there was no way we could have known this was going to happen. Those were his words. I knew it was going to happen for over a year. And so did Gardner Beckett. And that's the legal profession in a nutshell. And if the American people want to continue to allow these people to run their lives, then good luck to all of you, and we'll just keep sliding down the slippery slope. But if the American people want to learn how to do this and how to start controlling judges and how to controlling lawyers and how to make the law apply for them and not for the big corporations and not for the filthy rich that can hire 20 lawyers, then we can see a change in this country. But I can't do it by myself. I need you people to do this, not only to do it for yourselves, but to tell other people, hey, this is real. It isn't about this crazy old man, Mr. Graves. It's not about him. It's about something that he was shown years ago that we all need to discover for ourselves and pray that the light will come on so we can realize it's not rocket science. It's not differential calculus. It's just a handful of rules. And once you understand the rules, now you can control the court and make this world a better place for everyone.
Thank you. There's so much to...
Alrighty. So, there you go, y'all. I'm just saying that it's up to you. Again, I do not have firsthand knowledge of his course because I never taken it, but the price is right. And for people that's actually getting sick and tired of these games, may ought to just check into the course. Okay? And go ahead and take the course. If you don't like it after a year, don't use it. Right? But with my sources, I'm led to believe and do believe that what they are in the process of doing with their cases and all that, it helped them out drastically. Okay? So, there we go. Go for that. Okay? winwithoutlawyer.com. Alrighty? If we could put them out of business, I'm led to believe and do believe that our freedom can be restored. But again, it takes the massive to understand that we've been duped. And every time on some form of YouTube, somebody's out there that does not study, research, anything, but they give opinions and downing people. That's doing the research. All right. Till next time, y'all. Diesel with the People News. Bye, y'all.